Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon when you are watching this video lecture. In the earlier sessions, we discussed about the theory of demand and the theory of supply and how these two will interact with each other in a market economy. The same discussion can be extended to chapter 4, unit 2, that is related to determination of prices. Though chapter 4 is related to understanding different markets, in that unit 2 exactly becomes a logical extension of the theory of demand and supply, what we already discussed. So it becomes easier to understand the mechanism of price determination in a competitive market, which we are always talking about as market economy. So we have to understand how the prices are generally determined and how, most importantly, the changes in the demand and supply affect the prices and the quantities demanded and supplied. This is what we precisely discussed when we talked about the equilibrium in a competitive market, where the demand and supply will interact with each other and they will intersect. The demand curve and supply curve intersect with each other, where the equilibrium will be achieved. And if there is any change in the demand or supply, how that will have an impact on prices, how that will have an impact on the quantities demanded and supplied, is what we have to study here. Conceptually, the same thing has already been discussed. What actually we are doing here is to once again revise the mechanisms of the demand theory and supply theory, but most importantly not separately. We have to study them together by having a common point between the demand curve and supply curve. This is how the price determination happens in any competitive market, what we call as market economy. And as we already know, price is nothing but exchange value of the goods and services. So whatever the commodities may be, or whatever the factors of production may be, like land, labor, capital, organization, each of them will have their own price. For example, what is the price of the land? In the sense, what has to be given in lieu of land? Rent has to be given. What has to be paid to the labor? Wages have to be paid. What could be the return that capital and organization will expect? Interest and profit. So like this, for every aspect, whether it is a commodity, whether it is a service, whether it is a factor of production, the market economy works with demand and supply concepts, where they will interact with each other to strike a balance. And once that balance is struck, that's what we call as equilibrium price. And that's how free markets determine the prices with the forces of demand and supply. Of course, when we say free market, we have to assume that there is no intervention from the government, though really it will be there. But even if there is an intervention from the government, that might have an impact on the demand or supply, and that will definitely have its own impact on the price determination also. So we don't need to really look at how the government intervention will be there in the open markets. There is a whole lot of discussion on that, which is called as public finance, and that will be discussed in Group 2 Economics for Finance paper, where government's role in an economy will be discussed in detail. But yes, at a top level, at a higher level, broader level, we definitely know that government will have its own interactions by increasing or decreasing taxes. Sometimes it will fix the prices of certain commodities or services. So it will not let the market to work in a free way all the times. Certain prices are fixed. Of course, is it going to happen for all cases? Definitely not. And who decides that? Not you, not me. It is the government who decides. Earlier, there used to be a fixed pricing policy of petrol, diesel. Now there is a variable policy. That also changes every day. So we cannot exactly say this is how the price determination for petrol, diesel is going to happen always. There is nothing called always, because the governments change and their policies keep on changing. These prices also will be fluctuating according to the government's policies. So we don't need to know how the government policies are impacting them, but all that we need to know is definitely government policies will have an interaction, will have an intervention into the free market, wherein some of the prices of the goods or services could be not left to the market, like agricultural products. Government will say minimum support price, MSP, has to be given. That means what? It is intervening into the market. It is not letting the market to work as it wants, or as it normally does with the interaction of demand and supply. So yes, we have to understand, in a free market, the prices are purely determined by demand and supply, but at the same time, with an exception that government intervention also might distort the prices. Because of the intervention of the government into the free market, we cannot say all the prices what we are looking at are exactly reflecting the demand and supply. That is for understanding purposes. But theoretically, yes, always we ignore the government intervention and all that. We just think about two aspects, demand and supply. That's all. That's what we look at when we want to determine the equilibrium price or market price of any particular commodity in a competitive market. So what will be our job here definitely is to identify the equilibrium prices and quantities. Both prices and quantities we can find out by having two models in the same graph, which is nothing but demand and supply models. And that will give us automatically what is the equilibrium price and what is the equilibrium quantity, where both the demand and supply are same, or where both the quantity demanded and quantity supplied is same. And this equilibrium pricing concept is very much useful naturally for businesses also for governments also, to understand whether it requires to give more subsidies, or should it put some price ceilings, cap on the price. Floor prices means low prices. Minimum support price is an example of a floor price. These two words are popularly used. You can just remember them at a broader level. Lot of times these words are used. One is cap and one is floor. These are even in stock market also they are used, but meaning is same. Cap means cap, which is on the top, where we wear the cap on the head, that is on the top of us. So that means highest price. If the government says there is a price ceiling, which means the producer cannot sell that product at a price higher than that. That is a maximum price that he can charge. That is MRP, what we can call it, maximum retail price. Of course, the MRP is not fixed by government. We are talking about if it fixes, that is called price ceiling. That is the maximum price a particular seller can charge to their customers. That is called ceiling or cap. Ceiling is on the top. What will be on the down, what will be below us is floor. Floor means minimum price. Agricultural products will have minimum support price, popularly called MSP. That is an example of floor prices. That will be once again done by government. We don't need to once again go into the details of how the government will handle that. That is altogether a different topic of public finance. Now what we need to focus is only on the free market mechanism of interaction between demand and supply. So how that happens? That happens we know already. What we discussed is simply where the demand curve and supply curve intersect with each other. That is where the equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity will be identified. That is the same thing we are going to once again look at. Conceptually nothing new, but only application wise little bit broader than what we already know. So when we can say equilibrium, equilibrium is the state in a market, state of the market where the quantity demanded of a commodity equals to the quantity supplied of a commodity. That is what is equilibrium. This also we already discussed, where the quantity demanded is equal to quantity supplied. Again, if you talk it in a different line with a new sentence, aggregate quantity that all the firms wish to sell equals to the total quantity that all the buyers in the market wish to buy. Once again same, but expressed in a different way. All the firms wish to sell in the market is nothing but supply or quantity supplied. All the quantity that buyers in the market wish to buy is called demand, that is called quantity demanded. When these two interact with each other, when these two intersect, the demand curve and supply curve intersect with each other, that is where the equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity will be achieved. And this equilibrium price is also called as market clearing price. That also we have already discussed. Once again it is repeated. It is the price where quantity demanded equals to the quantity supplied. Means at this price there is no unsold stock or no unsupplied demand. So practically, is it possible to have no unsold stock? It is impossible. So it's a theoretical price where the market tries to reach or tries to achieve. It will not happen automatically, but the market direction will be in such a way that it tries to reach to the equilibrium price. We should know that theoretically it is the price at which the quantity supplied and the quantity demanded of a particular commodity is same. What is the repercussion of that? What is the consequence of that? When equilibrium price and quantity are achieved, there is no unsold stock because quantity supplied is equal to quantity demanded. No stocks are there. And no unsupplied demand is also there. So there are no people who wish to buy but the product is not available. Such situation does not occur if the market is at equilibrium, which is practically impossible. But that is the direction towards which the markets will always move. It is the destination where the market would like to reach. And the journey of the market will be always towards that destination, but that does not mean the destination will be there. Already it will reach the destination. So it is not the point that market will always be at equilibrium, but if it is not at equilibrium, it will certainly try to reach equilibrium. That's an important aspect of understanding the theory of price equilibrium and quantity equilibrium, wherein we need to bring together the demand and supply for the commodities in one place. Look at this table 3, which is also nothing but a demand and supply schedule put together in one schedule, one table. So a similar table what we discussed earlier in chapter 2, but the table is given here in a different way. Just numbers are different, the concept is same. Let us say first scenario where the price of a product is 1 rupee, quantity demanded was 60 units but supplied is only 5 units. Demand is more than supply. When demand is more than supply, naturally the market will push the prices upwards. That is the direction of the prices. So the market will not stay at a price of 2 rupees, price of 1 rupee. It will go to 2 rupees. If the price is 2 rupees, the quantity demanded and quantity supplied is equal, that is 35 units. That means already the market has reached equilibrium. It has reached equilibrium. It would like to stay there. It would certainly like to stay there. But if at all it does not stay there and tries to increase the price from 2 rupees to 3 rupees, naturally the demand decreases but supply increases. So this is a situation where supply is more than demand. Supply is more than demand. And earlier situation is where the demand is more than supply. So if we identify exactly the same things in the graph where demand curve and supply curve both are there, the left hand one, so this is all the place where the demand is more than supply. Demand is more than supply. What happened because of that? The prices are pushed upwards because at a lower price the quantity demanded is there, that is 60, but supply is only 5. So it is not matching, it is not reaching to the equilibrium. So this is the area where demand is more than supply. So how the prices are here? They are rising up. So from 1 rupee it went to 2 rupees. The prices have gone up. That's what happened in this area. And in this area, the supply is more than demand. These are the three situations we are talking about here. In these all three situations, the supply is more than demand, and when the supply is more than demand, how the price pressure will be? The price will be pressured to downwards. So at any price which is 3 rupees, 4 rupees, 5 rupees, these three are not sustainable. They will not be sustained. They will have to be brought down to 2 rupees. Then only the market will be in the equilibrium. So if the market operates, if at all, the market operates in this area, if the market currently is in this area, if this is what is happening, where demand is more than supply and the pressure on the prices is upwards, if that happens. If the market operates in this area where the supply is more than demand, then the pressure on the prices is downwards. That's how the market will try to achieve equilibrium, and ultimately it would like to be at an equilibrium price, in this case, which is 2 rupees. 2 rupees is the equilibrium price. And what is the equilibrium quantity? We can say around 35 units. And that is where the quantity demanded also and quantity supplied also are equal. At that price of 2 rupees, quantity supplied and quantity demanded are same. At the price of 2 rupees, the quantity demanded and quantity supplied both are same. That is why we can call that as equilibrium price. In any other situation other than this second situation, in any other situation, the market will not stay like that. It will have its own pressure of either moving the prices upwards or moving the prices downwards. So at a price of 1 rupee, since the demand is more than supply, this is the situation where demand is more than supply at a price of 1 rupee, and how the pressure on the prices will be upwards. So that is why naturally at 1 rupee it will not stay for a long time. It has to go to 2 rupees so that the equilibrium is achieved. But if at all the market is not operating at 2 rupees but operating at 3 rupees, what is happening in all these scenarios? Here supply is more than demand, so the pressure on prices is always downwards. So price has to be reduced by the market automatically. So it cannot sustain at 3 rupees, 5 rupees or 4 rupees. It would again tries to come down from wherever it is. So if already the market is operating at 4 rupees, it will try to reach 1 rupee or tries to reach 2 rupees, which is the equilibrium price. So the pressure on the price is downwards if supply is more than demand. Pressure on the prices is upwards if demand is more than supply. That's what we can say how the equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity are determined by having a interaction of both demand curve and supply curve. So any supply curve and demand curve, whichever the point they interact, you draw a parallel, you draw a straight line onto the y-axis. That is called as the equilibrium price. You draw a straight line from that point to the x-axis. That is called as equilibrium quantity. You can draw them roughly for your practice because it is important to be not only able to identify. If we draw them, a lot of questions we can answer easily. Otherwise, the thought process will be in loops. We will not be able to come out with solutions. Drawing on a small rough paper will give us a better idea of how the changes in the demand and supply will have an impact on equilibrium prices and equilibrium quantity. That's what is the crux of this chapter we are going to discuss. But before understanding the changes in demand, changes in supply, first we should know how the price is determined and how the equilibrium quantity is determined, which is nothing but the intersection point of the supply curve and demand curve. That is where equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity in the market are determined. In this particular example, we can say that is point E, which is given as equilibrium point intersecting between demand curve and supply curve. That's the price determination mechanism, we can say, right? So that is the point to be noted. Of course, equilibrium price is not something that will always be there. Market even can be having a price of more than equilibrium price or less than equilibrium price. But if the equilibrium is disrupted, if it is disrupted, means instead of maintaining a market price of 2, if the real price is 1, then market will push the price from 1 to 2. Or on the contrary, if the real price is 3, 4 or 5, it will pull it down to 2. It will try at least to do that. And that's what the market always tries to returns to the equilibrium. Once again, it tries to returns to the equilibrium. Returns is a theoretical aspect. Practically, returning to equilibrium itself is the journey of the market. That is what is the entire business made of, economy and big things that we talk. These are all ultimately the game of demand and supply. And that equilibrium is what the market always aims for. But of course, always we have to keep in mind, all other things are equal. That is always to be kept in mind. We cannot study this theory of demand and supply with multiple variables at the same time. We are only talking about two things. One is the price of the commodity. Two is either quantity supplied or quantity demanded. If we are talking about a supply curve, we are talking about the quantity supplied. If we are talking about demand curve, we are talking about quantity demanded. But price is always there on the y-axis. Quantity supplied or demanded is there on the x-axis. All other things being equal. Ceteris paribus. That will be there always as an underlying assumption, we can say. Clear? That is one point to be noted. Now the same thing can be explained in another way, other side. Let us look at this situation where we have an area, the area above this supply curve and demand curve. Same way, if we look at the interaction of the supply curve and demand curve again in a different graph. Look at this figure number 7, how the equilibrium is achieved. That is what we are calling it as a stable equilibrium. Same thing, price is on the y-axis, quantity is on the x-axis, demand curve is there, supply curve is there. So, but what is happening here in this area? What is happening here? If you look at this area, in this area, if this is happening, which is more, which is less? This is the demand curve and this is the supply curve. So which is more here? The supply is more than demand. So what we can call it? That is market in a situation of surplus. Whereas if the market is operating in this area, the bottom area, then demand is more than supply. So then we can say that is in the shortage. So when the simple logic, once again, common sense, supply is more than demand. When the supply is more than demand, that is surplus. That is what we call it as surplus. And when the demand is more than supply, that is when we call it as shortage. So surplus shortage will lead to price changes also, as we already discussed. If there is a surplus, means supply is more than demand, naturally what happens? The prices will go down if the supply is more than demand. Whereas if the demand is more than supply, there is a shortage, then the prices will go up. So that is what this figure also is once again telling the same idea what we are talking about so far. So excess supply or excess demand will create either surplus or shortage in the market. Surplus will lead to fall in prices, shortage will lead to rise in prices. That's all. When there is surplus, these are all repercussions of that which we should generally understand normally. So when there is surplus, what does it mean? It means there is unsold stock, plenty of unsold stock. So lot of supply is there, but demand is not matching with the supply. Means people are not asking for it. Sellers are ready to sell. The showrooms are full of cars, bikes and all the other automobiles, but there is no buyer. That's what I have been listening to from the past 4 or 5 months. Now of course the situation is a little better. But why was that situation arising? Simply because the supply was more than demand. There was an excess supply. So what the car manufacturers will have to do, if at all they want to sell it, that's when you see in the newspapers that offer, this offer, additional features will be given, cash discount will be given. Like that, they try to somehow attract the customers with the reduction in the prices, because the supply more than demand automatically pushes the pressure on the prices downwards. In other words, the prices are pulled back to the equilibrium. If demand is more than supply, the prices are pushed upwards, again back to the equilibrium. So in this particular example, what is the equilibrium price? In any example, you should be able to look at that. That is this. So what is the equilibrium price in this particular example of figure number 7? That is 10 rupees. Okay. And what is the equilibrium quantity in this example? That is 100 units. So this is rupees price. This is rupees. Quantity is in units. That has to be also clearly understood. This is rupees. Money terms. That is price. This is in units. Units of whatever the product we are talking about. So this is again demand curve, supply curve. Once again, nothing new. So the process of determination of equilibrium price is the same, but only point is you need to understand the dynamics, changes. When some change happens, what happens? When supply is more than demand, what happens? When demand is more than supply, what happens? What we call it when supply is more than demand? We call it surplus. What we call it when demand is more than supply? That we call it shortage. If the market is experiencing shortage, what will happen? There will be upward pressure on the prices, means the prices might go up in future. What will happen if there is a surplus in the market, unsold stocks are there in the market? Then naturally the prices will have a downward pressure, means the prices will go down in future. So when there is a price of 15, here if you observe, at a price of 15, what is the situation? At this price, what is the situation? This was the supply, this was the demand. In other words, straight down if you go, what was the supply? 150. Straight down if you go, demand was 50 only. Supply is more than demand at a price of 15 rupees. So when supply is more than demand, prices will go down. That means 15 rupees cannot be sustained. It has to come down to 10. That is equilibrium. If the market stays there, fantastic, no problem. But by any chance, if the price comes down to 5, if at all, the price comes down to 5, how much is the supply here? So we are on the supply curve. So this is supply of 50, but how much is the demand here? Demand is 150. So demand is more, 150, supply is less, that is 50. And every time you have to understand which dot we are looking at, which curve on which we are putting the dot. So this one, when we say this is the price of 5 rupees, and when I say here, this is the point. This is on which curve, which line? It is on the supply line. The dot is there on the supply line. So that is supply. Means how much is the quantity supplied? Straight down, 50. This dot is there on the demand line. So how much is the demand then? Straight down, 150. So demand 150, supply 50. So demand is more than supply. Like this, every graph, any graph that is given in the examination, we should be able to interpret. When the supply is more than demand, what happens? Demand is more than supply, what happens? At what price, what is the quantity demanded and what is the quantity supplied? From the graph itself, we should be able to identify at least, if not draw. Drawing is useful for what? When observing the changes, the graph is useful. Drawing is useful. But while just noting down what is given in the question, for that interpretation of the graphs is enough. And always you have to be careful at any particular point that we are pointing out on a line. Which line we are pointing out, you have to be careful. Are we pointing it on the supply line or demand line? Accordingly only our interpretation of the graph should be. So always these situations, if at all the surplus or shortage is there in the market tries to reduce or tries to restore the equilibrium. It will not leave at high prices or low prices. This is a process in which the supply demand gap is reduced and eventually eliminated, and thus restoring the equilibrium. That is a process, not that it will happen in one day and markets will automatically do it every day. But over a period of time, definitely the markets will always try to reach equilibrium and tries to reduce the demand supply gap. Gap could be anything. Gap could be demand more than supply or supply more than demand, but gap is there. But when gap is there, how to reduce that gap? How the market will try to reduce that gap? By price mechanism, by increasing the prices or decreasing the prices. And what happens by that price mechanism? The gap between the supply and demand will get reduced or eliminated eventually once the market reaches the equilibrium, if it reaches. Theoretically, we have to believe it reaches the equilibrium. That's what we are talking about as an intersection point of demand curve and supply curve. So that is about the equilibrium concept, price as well as quantity. Okay, that is the point to be noted first of all, which we already discussed, and we just are one way revising the same concept. Now, how the market will react to changes in the demand and supply. We know that equilibrium price is achieved by the intersection point of supply curve and demand curve. That's okay. But what will be the impact on the market price or the equilibrium price or equilibrium quantity when there is a change in the demand and supply? Are we talking about change in demand and supply or change in quantity demanded, quantity supplied here? We are not talking about quantity demanded, quantity supplied, because if it is a movement on the curve, it will be here only. Already that is done. When we said price changes from 15 rupees to 10 rupees, naturally the quantity supplied reduced from 100 to 150 to 100. So that is on the curve movement, which is on the supply curve or on the demand curve. Movement on the curve is about changes in quantity supplied and quantity demanded, and that happens because of change in price. But are we talking about that here? No, sir. We are not talking about that here. We are talking about other factors if they are changing. Other factors if they are changing, how the supply and demand will shift. They will not just move on the curve, they will shift. And when the supply or demand or both shifts, how the prices will change or how the equilibrium quantities will change. That is what we have to study. The most important aspect of today's discussion is this: when there are changes in the demand and supply, how it will have an impact on equilibrium price and quantity. What type of considerations we will take? But we will take any consideration other than price. For demand or supply, there will be many factors which will influence them, which we already discussed. If price is the factor which influences, then the movements will be along the curve only. That is already studied. That is where we said other things being equal, ceteris paribus and all. But now, price is not the consideration we are talking. We are looking at how other factors will change demand and supply, and how that change in demand and supply will have impact on price. Earlier, how price is having impact on quantity demanded, quantity supplied is a theory of demand and theory of supply. So price having an impact on quantity demanded, price having an impact on quantity supplied, that was earlier scenario. Now it is not the same. Observe this difference very carefully. Here, first point is not price. First point is some other consideration. What is that? Anything it could be. It could be income, taste and preferences, population, technology, prices of factors of production, government policy, etc. So many are there. Any factor other than price, if it changes, what it will do? We know that it will cause shifts in the demand and supply. Shift we are talking. If shift could be increase also, decrease also. But it will cause shift in demand and supply or both sometimes. So when such a shift in demand and supply happens, what is its impact on the equilibrium price and quantity? That we should study. So here what is changing first? Something else is changing other than price. Because of that, what is changing? Demand and supply. Demand or supply or both are changing. Because of that, what is happening? Because of the change in the demand or supply or both, there is a change in the equilibrium price or quantity, and sometimes both. So the point is, the starting point here is not price, the ending point here is price. Our job here is not looking at the impact of price on the quantity demanded or quantity supplied, it is opposite. Our job is how the changes in demand and changes in supply will have an impact on price. More or less, already we understood the essence of it when we said which type of pressure the supply or demand will put. Simple logic: supply more than demand, downward pressure; demand more than supply, upward pressure. That is, if known, all these aspects can be very easily understood. Very easily understood. So what are the possibilities here we are talking about? Here we are talking about broadly 4 possibilities. 4 possibilities are there. What can happen? Either there can be a increase in the demand, which will cause a rightward shift to the demand curve, or there can be a decrease in the demand. there is a leftward shift to the demand curve. Same way there could be increase in the supply or decrease in the supply. These are the only four possibilities, right? Increase in demand, decrease in demand, increase in supply, decrease in supply. What happens when such event occurs? When there is a increase in demand. But one point to be noted, when there is an increase in demand only, we are not changing the supply. Supply is constant. When there is a decrease in demand only, we are not changing the supply. Same way, when there is an increase or decrease in supply only, we are not talking about change in demand. So we are not talking demand and supply at the same time changing. No, that will also be there. We will come to that. But as of now, these four are not talking about simultaneous changes of demand and supply. Only one of them changes. One of them can change in only one direction. There cannot be increase in demand also, decrease in demand also for the same purpose, for the same product in the same period. Not possible. So any one of them only is possible. At a time, any one of them only is possible. When one of them is happening, once again other things remain constant. That assumption always has to be there. Other things in this case what? When demand is increasing, supply is constant. When demand is decreasing, supply is constant. When supply is increasing or decreasing, demand is constant. So we will shift or observe the shift of the supply curve or demand curve one at a time, not all at the same time. That is the point to be noted. And let us understand them easily. This discussion requires you to also have a simple ability of drawing on a normal rough paper, no need of any scale and all. So let us first look at this case. When there is an increase in demand, what happens? Increase in demand means what happens? The demand curve will shift rightwards or upwards. That's what happens. So how to draw this? First of all, always there is a original demand curve and original supply curve. This is always there. So original demand curve is there, original supply curve is already there. But now this is existing scenario. Now what we are telling, there is an increase in demand. Okay, before going to increase in demand and all, what was the original equilibrium point? This was the original equilibrium point where this was the price, let us say, this was the equilibrium quantity, let us say. This is original. This is always the starting point every time you draw a graph. You cannot print the graph like this. Understand this. This is printed. You cannot print. So you have to draw. Step by step, one by one, you have to draw. First, draw a original demand curve, then draw a original supply curve, identify where the equilibrium is. That is the basic thing you can do for any of these four options. But what you have to now do is, what happened here? What happened here? There is an increase in demand, he says. Increase in demand. Demand curve is which one? This is the demand curve, right? This is the supply curve. Okay. Supply will not touch. We cannot touch. Why? Because when there is increase in demand, there is only increase in demand. Nothing else is changing. Increase in demand means demand curve moves rightwards. Now this is the new demand curve. Draw that. This we can call it D1 or whatever. So what happened because of that? Simple. This is the new equilibrium because of that. Because it is cutting the supply curve here. Where the new demand curve is cutting the supply curve. At this point it is cutting. So if it is cutting at this point, naturally what is the new price, equilibrium price? Let us call this P1 and let us call this Q1. Just visually you can easily identify what happened. What happened to the price? Price has increased from P to P1. What happened to quantity? Quantity also has increased from Q to Q1. There ends the matter. We got the answer. Nothing else required. That's it. That is simple when you draw it. When you try to by heart it, increase, 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 decrease, decrease, increase, gone. Let me tell you, if you understand these things conceptually, it is the easiest way to remember them also. If you only try to remember by hearting it, when there is a shift rightwards, this happens, that happens, I will try to memorize this graph, what is printed in the material. No. That is not going to work. That is not correct also. So you should draw that with free hand, however worst it may be. Nobody is going to look at that. That is not the point. You don't have to draw to scale. You don't have to draw to like look good or something like that. We are all not artists here. Main point, our objective is to understand what happens. For that, whatever the way you draw, it's okay. But you should draw definitely the shapes correctly. Demand curve has to be like this only. Supply curve has to be like this only. You cannot say this is demand curve, I will consider it as not possible. That has to be definitely taken care of. So look at this graph, whatever is given there also, which is the same thing what we drew. So this is the original demand curve. Supply curve did not change. Original supply curve also, new supply curve, there is no new supply curve because change did not happen in supply. Change happened in demand. So new demand curve is drawn rightwards from the original demand curve. So naturally what happened? The equilibrium point moved from E to E1, which has increased the price from P to P1, increased the quantity from Q to Q1. That is where the equilibrium point is there. So, of course, there is another line also that is drawn here. That is another point also that is drawn here. That is Q2, which is talking about excess demand. Demand is more, but the supply is not that much, right? So, if you look at this point, where the demand is Q2, quantity demanded, but supply is not sufficient to meet that. So that is a additional thing. You don't need that. That is only for understanding it is given. All that you need to just draw is equilibrium point, what is the price attached to that and what is the quantity attached to that. So here from P to P1 the equilibrium price has increased, from Q to Q1 the equilibrium quantity has increased. That's all. That's all that we need to know here. When there is an increase in anything or decreasing anything, the logic is same. Once you understand once how to draw these things, all the other things are also variables of this only, nothing particularly there. So where the point of equilibrium is there, that is E, that has shifted to E1, and the price, if at all, that is shifting, that is going to shift from P to P1. So what is the conclusion that we can draw from all this? What is the conclusion from all this? We can say both will rise. So also here what we can say is conclusion. This is the conclusion. Finally, when there is an increase in demand when it happened, there is an increase in equilibrium price. Of course, yes, price has increased, the equilibrium price from P to P1, and also as a result of which the quantity supplied rises and quantity sold and purchased also increases, which means the quantity, equilibrium quantity also increases, which we can call it as Q1. So both price as well as quantity increase. That's what we can conclude from this. When the demand shifts rightwards, so when the demand shifts rightwards, price as well as quantity both will increase. So if you want to draw like a table, but don't by heart it, try to understand it. Only for easy memory this can be done. So in the first scenario, what was the first scenario we are talking? That is a shift in the demand curve, rightward shift in the demand curve. That is the first scenario. In that scenario, what happened to the equilibrium price? Increased. What happened to the equilibrium quantity? That also increased. That's it. Next, reverse happens here. So what happens here? When there is a decrease in demand, let us say if there is a decrease in demand, naturally the opposite will happen now. So when there is a decrease in demand, you can draw once again. Start just with normal line, some demand curve, some supply curve. Start with that. Demand curve, supply curve. But what happened here is, this is original demand curve and this is the original supply curve. That is not going to be touched because we are only talking about decrease in demand. So what is going to happen here? See, originally what was the equilibrium price? This much. What was the equilibrium quantity? This much. You call this P, you call this Q. Now what is going to happen is the demand is going to decrease, means definitely the demand curve is shifting leftwards, which results in what? A new equilibrium now being generated. Let us call this P1, new equilibrium price, and Q1, new equilibrium quantity. Once again, if you observe, very clearly you can observe the price has reduced and quantity also has reduced. Simple, you don't need to by heart it. when there is a shift or decrease in the demand, what happens to the equilibrium price? That will also reduce. This is the second case. And the equilibrium quantity also reduces. So that's what happens when there is a decrease in the demand. So when there is increase in demand, both equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity were increasing. When there is a decrease in demand, both equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity were decreasing. So what was the original equilibrium? E. Original equilibrium price was P. And original equilibrium quantity was Q. New equilibrium point is E1. And the new equilibrium price is P1. And new equilibrium quantity is Q1. And definitely P1 is less than P. Q1 is less than Q. Means what? What we can conclude from this simply, with the decrease in demand, when the demand decreases, only demand decreases, nothing else. When the demand decreases, then there is a decrease in equilibrium price and quantity. Demanded, of course, and supplied also. So when there is a decrease in the demand, there will be a decrease in the equilibrium price also, and there will be a decrease in both price as equilibrium price as well as quantity. That's it. That is decrease in demand. Now, same way you can draw for others also. That is increase in supply. Third scenario. When we say supply, only supply, not demand. Supply is only supply, not demand. We have to understand that. So once again here, when there is an increase in supply, here same way. First you will start with a normal demand curve and a normal supply curve. This is equilibrium price, this is equilibrium quantity. Okay, let us call it P1, sorry P, let us call this Q. That is the original equilibrium E. Okay, now this is original, always the same, every graph starts with the same. Now change what it is. Change is what? Increase in supply. Increase in supply means what happens? The supply curve shift rightwards. Rightwards. That's what happened here. So new supply curve is rightwards of the original supply curve. Because of this, what is going to happen? Because of this, what is the new equilibrium price? Once. So new equilibrium price is this, and new equilibrium quantity is this. So what happened here? Look at this carefully. Price has decreased from P to P1, but quantity has increased from Q to Q1. What happened? Price has decreased, quantity has increased when there is a increase in supply. That's what happened very visually, clearly. So original equilibrium price was P, original equilibrium point was E. Now with a shift in the supply curve rightwards, price reduced from P to P1. Sir, why it happened? Why it happened? Because supply is more, no? Demand is same. When supply is more, price will go downwards, right? That's what happened. And because of that, also what happened is the equilibrium point new quantity has increased from Q to Q1, as can be observed here. The equilibrium changed from E to E1, quantity changed from Q to Q1. Because naturally, though the same demand is same, when the supply is more, where it is cutting the demand curve will be at a higher quantity than it was earlier. So the sellers will be able to sell more than the earlier. That is when we say supply is more. So what happened here when the increase in supply happened? Conclusion. When the increase in supply happened, of course, demand remaining the same, increase in supply happened. When there is an increase in the supply, particularly, demand of course remaining the same, the equilibrium price will go down and quantity demanded, quantity or equilibrium quantity will go up. That's what happens. Equilibrium price is down, but quantity is up. So coming back here, our original table. So what is that we can say? The third scenario where the supply curve is shifting rightwards. What happened to the price? Price came down and quantity went up. This is what happened. That is the third scenario. Fourth scenario, that is when there is a decrease in supply. Decrease in supply. Logically speaking, you can understand already without any graph also. So when the supply decreases, demand being same, less supply means what? Demand is more than supply, which means naturally the price will be going down. The pressure will be on the prices downwards. That is for sure. So when there is a decrease in supply, which is the fourth and last scenario, individually speaking, then what happens? Let us see. Once again, this is not a big deal. Always we can easily just draw with free hand and understand what happens. We don't need to by heart anything. Naturally, original demand curve, original supply curve, it's all okay. But now supply did not increase. Supply decreased means the supply curve moves leftwards. Before that, let us first draw this. This is easier. So what was the original price or equilibrium price? Let us say this is P. And what was the original equilibrium quantity? That is Q. Okay, fine. Now what happened? Demand is same, but the supply got decreased. When the supply got decreased, supply curve moves leftwards. So what happened here? Price increased from P to P1, but quantity decreased from Q to Q1. So that's what happens when the decrease in supply happens. So when the decrease in supply happens, simply that's what is given here. What happened? Increase in the equilibrium price. Increase in the equilibrium price. That's what happened. At the same time, a fall in the quantity demanded or equilibrium quantity, we can say. So price increased from P to P1. Quantity decreased from Q to Q1. This Q2 unnecessarily don't write it. That's unnecessarily confusing for many people. So just draw only one original demand curve and one original supply curve. Draw the original equilibrium point and mark them on the x-axis and y-axis. Y-axis is price, original price, x-axis is original quantity. That is what you have to keep ready in all the four cases. Whichever case is asked, you just apply it. You just apply it on the graph and check what happens to price and quantity. So that's the point here. So earlier, this is what happened when the shift in the supply was rightwards, price decreased, quantity increased. When the shift in the supply was leftwards, reverse happens naturally. What is that? The price will increase, but the quantity will decrease. That's it. These are the only four possibilities. Naturally, each of them is a question. Each of them is a question, possible question. So, will they be asked in the same way? They can be asked in different ways. Directly, they will not ask. He might say, government has introduced a new tax. What will be the impact on equilibrium price? So, first you should understand that a government introduced a new tax means where it will have an impact. Will it have an impact on demand or supply first? Factors influencing demand, factors influencing supply, we should remember. Okay, yes, it was a factor influencing supply. Okay, how it will influence supply? It will reduce the supply because tax is a negative influencer on supply. That means which category it belongs to, we should first identify. That means, okay, this is belonging to the last fourth category where there is a decrease in supply. Then you will write the answer. If you want to directly arrive at the answer, that is not going to happen. It is a process in which you have to first identify what happened, and then you should identify because of which what happened to the demand curve or supply curve, and then you have to identify because of that what happens to the equilibrium price or equilibrium quantity. Then only the final answer will come. If you try to get the answers directly or by hearting it, and let me tell you, this definitely will be unnecessarily confusing. We don't have to create any confusion. It is the very simplest possible thing, provided we have a clarity on just drawing a few lines. How to draw a few lines, definitely have to practice. Clear? That is about shifts in the demand curve or supply curve. Because the shifts can be increase or decrease, four possibilities arise, 2 by 2 matrix, and four possibilities we have discussed. What is the conclusion there? When there is a shift in the demand curve rightwards or upwards, or when we say the increase in demand happened, then price also increased, quantity also increased. When there is a decrease in demand, price also decreased, quantity also decreased. But when there is an increase in supply, price decreased but quantity increased. Same way, when there is a decrease in supply, price increased but quantity decreased. So these are the 4 different possible directions where the price and quantity can go by observing the demand curve and supply curve simultaneously, but changing only one at a time. We are not changing both demand and supply at the same time. We are changing only one at a time. What if we change both at the same time? That is the next point. That's what we call as simultaneous changes in the demand and supply. Simultaneously, if the demand and supply change, then what happens? Then what happens also we can draw, but it depends upon how the change in the demand and change in supply is happening. That is what is very important to identify. Of course, this is more practical than only changing demand or only changing supply, since in real life, keeping other things at the same time, all same at the time is not practical. So what happens practically? Always the demand and supply curves can change in same direction, but they also have simultaneous changes at the same time. So let us see how this will impact the price or quantity. Each of them we can observe now by looking at demand and supply. So when the demand and supply curves shift in the same direction, first point we have to understand, demand and supply curves are shifting in same direction. Same direction means demand also increasing, supply also increasing. Demand also decreasing, supply also decreasing. Like that it is happening. When they are going in the same direction, what happens? Always any answer, all of them can be just answered by drawing the graphs easily. But here, just by drawing the graph only, it's not enough, because the quantum also matters. Why? Because look at this first scenario. First scenario, let us say A, that is category A, let us say. What happened here? If you understand from the graph by looking at it, what happened is demand increased from D to D1. That's what happened. From D to D1, the demand has increased, right? Original demand curve was D, now it is D1. Demand has increased. And what happened to supply? Supply also increased from S to S1. Why? Because we are talking about both the demand and supply curves shifting in same direction. Direction is same. And most importantly, another important point here is, if you look at the distance here between D1 and SS1, that looks the same. Means what? How much demand has increased, the same way or the same percentage, supply also has increased. Means we can say the increase in demand and increase in supply both are same. Increase in demand and increase in supply both are same in this case, because the distance is clear. For this to draw, it will be requiring little bit more precision, because the exact distance we cannot do with free hand. So we are just observing it. But what is the resultant here? If you observe, the resultant here is the price has not changed. Earlier also the equilibrium point was E, now the equilibrium point is E1. But is there any change in the price? No. Means what? What we can conclude from this? When both the demand and supply increase in the same direction, in the same proportion, there will not be any impact on price, but what happened? The quantity has definitely increased from Q to Q1. That's what we can draw a conclusion here from this particular scenario, that is A. That is A scenario, where increase in demand and increase in supply are equal. That's what is mentioned here. Here increase in demand is equal to increase in supply. So what happened? The same price is there. New equilibrium price E1 is equal to old equilibrium price E. I mean, point wise E and E1 and E are different, but price at that equilibrium level is same, that is P. But the equilibrium quantity is more. From Q to Q1 it has shifted rightwards. That is the first conclusion we can draw, first scenario. By the way, when we talk about this scenario, we have to also understand the reverse scenario also, because everything is reverse also true. What if original supply curve is S1, original demand curve is D1. Now, supply reduced from S1 to S, demand reduced from D1 to D. Both moved in same direction, that is leftwards. But same proportion. How much supply decreased, same percentage, demand also decreased. Then also same, price will not change. Then we say equilibrium quantity or equilibrium point moved from E1 to E, but still the price remains the same. But quantity, what happened? Equilibrium quantity moved from Q1 to Q. That means the quantity has reduced. So reverse also has to be understood, because for each one point there are two points here. D to D1 or D1 to D. S to S1 or S1 to S. Both can be possible. But at the same time, when D is moving towards D1, S is moving towards S1. Or when D1 is moving towards D, S1 is moving towards S. When both are moving in the same direction, both demand and supply moving in same direction, then what happened? Since the amount of or the proportion of increase in the demand and proportion of increase in supply are same, there is no impact on the price, but there is an increase in the quantity if there is an increase in demand and supply simultaneously. But there will be a decrease in quantity if there is a decrease in demand and supply simultaneously. That's what figure 12a will tell us. Clear? That is one scenario. Now, look at figure B. Here also the direction is same. Here also the direction is same. Means if demand is increasing, supply is also increasing. Demand is decreasing, supply is also decreasing. But if you look at here, first one direction, increase in demand is more. Increase in demand is more than increase in supply. Look at the gap here. So this is shorter, right? And the increase in demand is much more than increase in supply. Then what happens? Let us see. Okay. What happened to the equilibrium point? That we can observe. The original equilibrium point was E. Fine. Now it has moved to E1. But what happened to the prices and quantities? Price has moved up and quantity also moved up. Price also moved up, quantity also moved up. So that's what is given here. When increase in demand is more than increase in supply, that's what figure 12b shows. Increase in demand is more than increase in supply. That's what we talked about earlier also. If increase in demand is equal to increase in supply, then the price of the commodity will not change, but quantity will change. When we say increase, the quantity will also increase. What if increase in demand is more than increase in supply? Because increase in demand is more than supply, logically also when demand is more than supply, prices will go upwards. That's what happens. What happens here? When there is a increase in demand more than increase in supply, what happened to the equilibrium price? We can observe the price has moved from P to P1. Then we can say the prices have gone up and quantity also has gone up. Clear? So that is a point here to be noted. When the increase in demand is more than increase in supply, new equilibrium price is higher than the old equilibrium price OP. But of course, opposite will happen when equilibrium price will go down. If there is a simultaneous fall in demand and supply, and fall in demand is more than fall in supply. Same thing, reverse. Always one side it is true, the reverse also it has to be true. Let us say fall in demand happened which is more than fall in supply. Then prices also will fall. But quantity also will fall. So in that case, quantity will rise. In this particular scenario, when we say S1 and S1, S1 is the original supply curve and S is the new supply curve. D1 is the original demand curve and D is the original new demand curve. So reverse happens. equilibrium shifts from E1 to E. That means what happened to the price? Price has decreased. What happened to the quantity? Quantity also has decreased. So in the first scenario, what we can say is, in the first scenario where there is a increase in demand is equal to increase in supply, that is the first scenario. In this case, the price remains same. Price will not have any influence at all. Price will not have any influence, but there will be either increase or decrease in the quantity depending upon what happened to the demand and supply. If both demand and supply increased, quantity also will increase. If both demand and supply decreased, quantity also decreased, but it will not have an impact on price. That is the first scenario, that is A. Second scenario is different. When quantity demanded or increase in demand is more than increase in supply. When increase in demand is more than increase in supply, then what happens? If increase happened both cases, then the prices will go up from P to P1. Quantity also will go up from Q to Q1. What if decrease in demand is more than decrease in supply? Then prices will go down and quantities also will go down. This is what happens in the second scenario, that is B. Next, third scenario, that is where increase in supply is more than increase in demand. Once again, if you look at the graph with visually, S to S1 distance is more, D to D1 the distance is less. So what can we say here? Increase in supply is more than increase in demand. Increase in supply is more than increase in demand. Then that's what we are talking about, the third scenario. Supply increases in a greater proportion than demand means increase in supply is more than increase in demand. Then what happened? Look at the prices here simply. What was the original equilibrium point? It was E. This was original equilibrium point. At that price was P and quantity was Q. Okay, fine. Now increase in supply is more than increase in demand. So what happened? Price has reduced, but quantity has increased. Price has reduced, but quantity has increased. So that's what happens when increase in supply is more than increase in demand. Supply is more than demand. Increase in supply is more than increase in demand means price will be reduced. Downwards pressure on the price will be there, but quantity will be increased. So one scenario here is when increase in supply is more than increase in demand, price will reduce, but quantity will increase. What if decrease in supply is more than decrease in demand? Both in same direction, but the proportion of change in supply is more than proportion of change in demand. So decrease in supply is more than decrease in demand. Then prices will increase and quantity will decrease. How? For that, all that you need to do is reverse calculation. Same graph. Consider E1 as original equilibrium and E as a new equilibrium. Where quantity was Q1 originally, price was P1 originally. What happened to price? Price decreased from P1 to P and quantity decreased from Q1 to Q. So price decreased. One second. P1 to P price increased. P1 to P price increased. This one we are talking. And Q1 to Q quantity has decreased. That's what we are talking about. Here price increases but quantity demanded or quantity equilibrium quantity decreases. So this is what happens in actually 6 different scenarios here we can say when simultaneously demand and supply are changing but both changing in same direction. So what is the conclusion? When both demand and supply are changing in the same direction simultaneously, but increase in demand is equal to increase in supply, then there will not be any change in price. Price will remain same, but equilibrium quantity will increase or decrease depending upon whether we are talking about increase in demand or increase in supply, or decrease in demand or decrease in supply. So if the demand and supply both are increasing, quantity also will increase. If demand and supply both are decreasing, quantity also will decrease. Then what if increase in demand is more than increase in supply, or we can even call it decrease in demand is more than decrease in supply. In any case, we can call increase or decrease in the same direction. So decrease in demand is equal to decrease in supply in this case. Same way, decrease in demand is more than decrease in supply in this case. So what happens if increase in demand is more than increase in supply? Price will go up, quantity also will go up. What happens if decrease in demand is more than decrease in supply? Then price will go down, quantity also will go down. That is the second scenario. Two options are there. Third scenario, increase in supply is more than increase in demand, or decrease in supply is more than decrease in demand. Then increase in supply is more than increase in demand means prices will go down, but quantities will go up. Reverse happens. Decrease in supply is more than decrease in demand means prices will go up, but quantity will go down. These are the 6 possibilities and 6 questions naturally. So we have separately observed only if demand curve shifts rightwards or leftwards, supply curve shifts rightwards or leftwards, with other thing being the same. That is one aspect, that is changes in demand and supply separately observed. That is one aspect where we had 4 possibilities. Here, when simultaneously demand and supply both change, then we definitely have 6 different possibilities. All of them you have to understand the pressure is on what. If you understand the pressure on prices, then the other things, the quantity can be observed from the graph. Pressure on prices is easy to understand and easy to identify also, but how the quantities will change, definitely you cannot identify just with the forces of demand and supply. For quantity, definitely you need to refer to the graph and you should be able to draw them, preferably at least by having some freehand practice. So originally having them equal is difficult, exactly equal is difficult, maybe we may not be able to reach it, but if one is more than other, that is not that difficult also. Let us say this is the original demand and this is the original supply curve. Increase in supply is little bit, right, little bit. Increase in demand is more. It's okay, this is easy to draw, not a problem. Then you can observe how the equilibrium points are happening, at which points what happened actually. So what is the new thing? Sorry. So this is the original equilibrium point. Originally first you should draw it better, because later it will be unnecessarily messing up with other things. So what happened here? Straight away we can understand increase in demand is more than increase in supply, which means price also has increased, quantity also has increased. And once you know this, reverse also will be true. When decrease in demand is more than decrease in supply, price will decrease, quantity also will decrease. That's what we are talking about here. These are the 2 possibilities. For the first one, figure number A, exactly you may not be able to draw, but that is nothing to draw also, because price will not change. And how do we know the quantity changes? Depending upon whether the demand and supply both are increasing or decreasing. Demand and supply both increasing, quantity will increase. Demand and supply both decreasing, quantity will decrease. So there is no need to draw a graph in the first scenario. Automatically price is always the same when the change in demand and change in supply are same. Second scenario, you can draw the graph easily. Third scenario also you can draw the graph just by taking where increase in supply is more than increase in demand. Okay, for that also same. You should have first original demand curve and original supply curve. Okay, we have this original equilibrium point. So what are we talking now? Increase in supply is more than increase in demand. So supply should have a bigger thing, and increase in demand also happened, but a little bit only happened. So what is the new equilibrium? Here is the new equilibrium. What is that? Price reduced, quantity increased. Simple. That's what we are talking about. Price reduced, quantity increased. right? Same way reverse. When decrease in supply is more than decrease in demand, reverse will happen. Price will increase and quantity will decrease. So like this, any type of situation given in the question, we should be able to draw the relevant graph and identify what happens to the equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. That is where 6 different scenarios will emerge. So what can we conclude from this shift in the demand and supply simultaneously, that too in the same direction? What can we conclude from that? When both the demand and supply, when both of them are increasing at the same time, both demand and supply are increasing, then definitely the equilibrium quantity will increase, that is for sure. But change in equilibrium price is uncertain. Why? Because it depends upon whether increase in demand or decrease in demand is more than increase in supply or decrease in supply or not. So price is uncertain, but quantity definitely increases when both demand and supply increase. What happens when both demand and supply decrease? Once again, quantity is certain. When both demand and supply decrease, definitely the quantity is going to be decreasing along with that, no doubt. But how about the price? Change in equilibrium price is once again uncertain. Why? Once again, which one is decreasing more than the other? Is supply decreasing more than demand or demand decreasing more than supply? Depending upon that, the price will be determined. But quantity definitely will decrease. When both demand and supply are decreasing, quantity will definitely increase. When both demand and supply are increasing, that can be concluded out of the 6 different possibilities that we have discussed just now. But what was the common point in all those 6 possibilities is the demand and supply both are changing in same direction. So what if they are changing in opposite direction? Opposite direction is relatively easy actually, because we can easily understand what happens to the price and what happens to the quantity if they are going in opposite directions. Look at this situation here. First one, which is saying about original demand is D and new demand is D, means demand has increased. Supply has originally S and supply has decreased, opposite direction. On one side demand increases but supply decreases. So when demand is increasing but supply is decreasing, what happened to the equilibrium point? That we should identify. So what was the original equilibrium point? Original equilibrium point was E. That is clear. This is the original equilibrium point. It is already there, the original equilibrium point. Then at that point the price was P, quantity was Q. Now what is the new equilibrium point? The new equilibrium point is going to be E1. That is at this point, and you don't need the other one. Straight away, if you write this one line and you draw another line here, you can understand what happened to the new equilibrium price and new equilibrium quantity. New equilibrium price is more than the original price, and new equilibrium quantity is also more than the original quantity. So when demand increases and supply decreases, then what is happening? Demand increases, supply decreases. When demand increases, definitely price will go upwards, that is for sure. Price is going to go upwards. Quantity, whether it will go upwards or downwards, once again depends upon whether demand is increasing more than supply or supply is decreasing more than demand. So what can be guaranteed here when the things are moving in opposite direction? Once again we can draw all the 6 scenarios here, but we don't need that. All that we need now is, what is the conclusion we can draw from this? One, where the demand is increasing, supply is decreasing, naturally the prices will also increase. Prices will also increase. That is first point. What if demand is decreasing? That is the second scenario, let us say, but supply is increasing. Then naturally the prices will decrease. So this can be all done without the help of graph also, just by understanding the concept of demand and supply. When demand is increasing, supply is decreasing, there will be upward pressure on the prices. When demand is decreasing and supply is increasing, there will be downward pressure on the prices. How it will be affecting the quantity? That once again depends upon how much difference is there in the increase in demand and increase in supply. If you look at this case, which is case B, what happened here? Here also demand increased. Here also supply decreased. But increase in demand is less than decrease in supply. Decrease in supply is more, too much. Decrease in supply is more. So what happened here? One thing for sure. Here price has definitely increased, because whenever there is a increase in demand and decreasing supply, definitely price is going to increase. But what happened to the quantity? It has not increased like earlier. Earlier in case A, the quantity was increasing. Here the quantity was decreasing. That's what happened here. So whether the quantity will change or not, that depends upon which is more. Whether increase in demand is more or decrease in supply is more. How to identify that? Once again, simply any examination question, if at all it is asked like that, all that we need to do is we need to just draw the original demand curve and original supply curve. Whatever the change that is given, exactly that has to be reflected in the graph, and automatically the answer will come. What happens to price and what happens to the quantity? Simply that is the best way of remembering all this, and understanding the concept of it is very important, rather than by hearting it or trying to just remember it. So like this, another 6 cases can be drawn, but we are not going to do that. It can be done when the questions are requiring us to do. Like this 6 cases are there. Like this another some more cases can be definitely be there. When one is increasing, other is decreasing, but the increase in one of them is more than the decrease in the other, or simultaneously reverse. One is increasing, one is decreasing, but both are increased and decreased in the same way. Increase in demand and decrease in supply, both are same. Then what happens? Then quantity will not change, but price will still increase, like that. So what is the first scenario where both are going in same direction, simultaneously demand and supply are going in same direction? Then what we definitely can tell about is quantities, but what we cannot tell about is prices, because that price changes will depend upon which increase or decrease is more. So what is guaranteed? When both demand and supply increase simultaneously, quantity will increase. When both demand and supply decrease, definitely the quantity will, equilibrium quantity will decrease. That is guaranteed. But what is not certain? Equilibrium price is uncertain. For that we need to draw the graph or understand the pressure on prices. Pressure on prices conceptually, if you understand, that is also enough. Always the graph is not required. But it is easier to answer the questions with the graphs. But if demand and supply are moving in opposite direction, what is certain? Price is certain. What is not certain? Quantity is not certain. Earlier quantity was certain, price was not certain. Here price is certain, quantity is not certain. How the price is certain? Definitely when one increases, other decreases. Demand increases, supply decreases, opposite direction, prices will go up. When demand decreases, supply increases, then prices will go down. Simple. These are the only two possibilities. And ultimately, how it will have impact on quantity? Further, there can be three more possibilities are still here. In this case, quantity will remain the same if increase in demand and decrease in supply are same, or decrease in demand and increase in supply are same. Quantity will not be affected, but price will definitely be affected depending upon demand or supply increasing or decreasing. When we are talking about both demand and supply are moving in opposite direction. So always when we say the supply and demand are moving in opposite direction, when they are moving in opposite direction, supply and demand, what is the main point here to note? We cannot predict the ultimate effect what it will be on the quantity. We cannot predict the effect on quantity, but what we can definitely predict is impact on price. That is for sure. So what can we conclude from this? When demand increases and supply decreases, prices will definitely increase, but we cannot say anything about quantity. When demand decreases and supply increases, prices will fall, but We cannot say anything about quantity. These are the opposite things, opposite direction situations. Whereas earlier we had same direction situations. There we could tell confidently about quantity, but there we could not tell about prices. Here we can tell about prices confidently, but we cannot tell about quantity unless we actually draw them and unless we actually see which is more than the other. That is a point to be noted, and this can be illustrated with this important point here, and this type of questions can be expected in the exam also. D1 and S1 are the original demand and supply curves, so identify that first. So D1 and S1, okay, fine. These two are the original demand and supply curve. So naturally, what was the original equilibrium where D1 and S1 are interacting? That is 1. That is the original equilibrium. Now, various things will happen. Means the supply, if it increases, it goes from S1 to S2. Supply, if it decreases, it goes from S1 to S3. Demand, if it increases, it goes from D1 to D2. Demand, if it decreases, it goes from D1 to D3. And there are totally 9 different possibilities, including the original equilibrium. There are 9 equilibriums here given. Which one is that? What? That we should be able to identify. What is point 3 telling us? Point 3 telling us supply has decreased from S1 to S3, but demand remained the same. That's what point 3 is telling us. What is point 8 telling us? Supply has increased from S1 to S2, but demand remained the same. What is point 8 telling us? Demand increased from D1 to D2 and supply increased from S1 to S2. What is point 5 telling us? This equilibrium point, what it is telling us? Demand increased from D1 to D2, but supply remained the same. What is 2 telling us? Demand increased from D1 to D2, but supply decreased from S1 to S2. Each point we should be able to identify what happened actually visually. 4, what it is telling us? Demand decreased from D1 to D3, supply decreased from S1 to S3. What is point 6 telling us? Demand decreased from D1 to D3, supply remained the same. What is 9 telling us? Demand decreased from D1 to D3, supply increased from S1 to S2. Each point has its own interpretation, but we are not going to get 9 questions out of this. Any questions can be asked there. What kind of questions can be expected? Just for understanding, let us take question number 1. Assume X is a normal good, holding everything else constant. Assume that income rises and prices of a factor of production also increases. So we should understand, when incomes rises, demand will increase. Okay, fine. When prices of factors of production also increases, supply will decrease. So demand increases, supply decreases. Which point is telling us? Demand increases, but supply decreases. Where is that point? That is point number 2, isn't it? That is exactly where. That is at point number 2, where the demand has increased and supply has decreased, which means intersection of D2 and S3. That is the first scenario. Impact on demand and supply we should first know, then we should identify that in the graph. Second, let us say we are analyzing the market for good Z. Price of a complement good Y declines. Carefully. Price of a complement good declines means the demand for complement commodity increases. Along with that, demand for good Z also increases. So first demand increased. That is first consequence. Technological advancement happened, means supply also increased. So demand also increased and supply also increased. D1 went to D2, S1 went to S2. What is the common point of D2 and S2? Point number 7. Straight away we can identify that. That is point number 7. Both demand also supply also increased. Third, rains in Maharashtra during whatever period caused havoc with rice crop. What point in the figure is most likely to be the new equilibrium price and quantity? Only rains in Maharashtra means definitely it has an impact on supply. Demand is not going to be affected by that external factor. So supply decreased, definitely yes. When only supply decreased with the same demand, demand is D1 only. Supply from S1 it decreased to S3. D1 and S3, what is the common point? That will be point number 3. Naturally, that will be the point where same demand but decreased supply will be there. That is point 3. Like this, any question can be asked. Consumers expect prices of new cars to significantly increase next year, means now demand will increase. Because of that, at what point above figure will be most likely showing the equilibrium price and quantity. So only demand is increasing, supply remains same. Supply is S1, demand is D2. At what point? 5. So that is a point to be noted. For each of those points have something to say. Demand increased or decreased or changed or not changed. Each point we should be able to identify. From the questions we should be able to identify which point is describing that situation. Such kind of questions can very well be expected. Very important type of question in the examination. And this is about how the prices are fixed in the market, and the same things are given here as a summary. If you go with this text, and let me warn you, it will be unnecessarily confusing. So don't try to remember these things. That increases, this decreases, this goes down, that comes up. If that is the way we are learning it, gone. That is going to be very difficult. It will complicate the things. You will end up in a loop thought process. You will not come out of that. How to come out of that? Very simple. Just draw a original demand curve and supply curve. Whatever the situation given in the question, it could be anything. There are 12 possibilities, 15 possibilities, 20 possibilities, whatever they may be, we don't care. Whatever the possibility given, just draw that possibility on the graph. Automatically, what is the impact on price, what is the impact on quantity will come out. So there is no rocket science in this. It's only about just having the ability to practice little bit of drawing on the graphs, original demand curve, original supply curve, whatever the situation may be. If it says increase in demand is more than increase in supply, so demand first of all increased, supply increased also, but little bit only. That's all. Like this we will draw. If it says, let us say the question says increase in demand and increase in supply both are same, both are increasing. So try to draw equal things are dangerous. So try to draw almost equal type of distance between demand and supply. So like this, any situation given in the question, you should be able to just draw it. For that purpose, first and foremost thing is you have to draw the original demand and original supply curve, and also point out the price and quantity at that situation. When then any change happens, whatever that change may be, apply that on the graph. Automatically you get how the price and quantity are going to change according to that situation. And once again I am repeating, don't try to by heart these things. That changes, this changes, that increases, this decreases. If that is more than this, if such a way of remembering is what you are going to indulge in, let me tell you, it is going to be definitely complicated for you in the examination. Simple technique is there. Use it, practice it, little bit of effort is required. Then for lifelong you don't have to worry about this topic. This topic will be done. Right? With that, we'll conclude this price determination mechanism also. And in the next session, we'll discuss another topic. Till that time, take care. Bye-bye. Thank you very much.